power so we grow. Using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon. This is the business plan, the business zone with Crystal and Gilbert.
Welcome,
This is the
everyone.
business plan.
He is on business plans, not even
Oh
the
my Lord.
okay. Well, welcome,
How are
everyone.
you doing, my co-host?
I am good. It's been a busy week. Lots of stuff going. Lots of people looking for work. Looking for help to get their businesses just right. And so it's been good. It's been a really, really good week.
Very good. Very
I've
good.
had classes all week. I've had coaching all week. So it was a good week. Really good
And
week.
you
No
you
complaints.
you've been doing some great work with the Women's Business Center and some other
The Women's Business
organizations,
Center,
right?
even Vermont Slauson, and
Uh-huh.
my status has elevated there. I am actually going to be narrating the Black History Month event for Vermont Slauson.
All right. I
So
love that co-host. See, the thing is,
yeah,
they've chosen a right person because who else is qualified to do that than you,
yeah,
the
exactly.
president, the CEO of Recycling Black Dollars? You see what I'm saying?
Right. So it was a good week. It was a lot of good stuff. I'm getting ready to launch my blog for my gardening so I can create some revenue streams because you know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
attended today, I attended Southern California Edison's Black History Month event. It was
Mm-hmm.
great as usual, 20
Yeah.
years, and they honored Gwen Moore
Oh, they
for
did.
work.
Very
On
good.
Stephen Bradford, the assembly the senator,
Yes.
California senator, he spoke today.
Yeah.
My guru and mentor, Dr. George C. Frazier, he talked about
Oh, okay.
relationships and building
They
that.
they honored him too.
No, he actually spoke.
Oh, how did he get in on that?
Somebody has attended or participated in his Power Network conference. He
Man,
reaches he had long arms.
that's great. That's great.
And what else? Oh, I think they honored or highlighted Brotherhood Crusade and the work that
Uh-huh.
they're doing with young people.
Mm-hmm.
And they honored a young lady, her name is Dr. Teresa Price. She actually does these annual HBCU Black college tours for kids. She's been doing it for the last 20, 30 years. And so
Right.
she is exceptional in that area. She's actually um, I would say she's a one of a kind in that space. And
Mm-hmm.
so they honored her. So it was a good day. That's all I can
That's
say.
that's
It's been
great.
a good week for Black History Month.
Yes.
And so can't ask for anything more than that. And this morning another friend of mine's, he had a Black History event this afternoon after the Edison one. Then I
Uh-huh.
just participated in his. So I have Black History it up today.
You have got your fill of Black History today, huh?
Right. So I love Black History Month because it's the
That's
one
good.
time where they actually honor us. There is actually something, let me see before I even go over here. There was something that I saw on Facebook this morning that is worth to read. Let me see if I can find it. Alfred actually put it on his Facebook, our buddy Alfred,
Yeah.
Alfred Foster.
Yeah.
And it was really just talking about our ancestors and what they've gone through and what we need to do in order to continue on. So let me see if I can find it so I can share it. Let me see. uh I can't find it. Oh my, oh my. Yeah, I can't find it. But if I find it before we end up, I thought I saved it, but I guess I didn't.
Right.
Um, but it was really pretty powerful, and it just basically talked about if our ancestors could sacrifice and go through what they went through, and never quit. That's the overall. Then there
Uh-huh.
is no reason we should ever quit doing what we're supposed to do for our people,
Right.
mainly because they, if we're here, it's because they survived.
I
And
hear
that's just
that.
the bottom line of it, right? So if they
I hear that.
survived to bring us here to this earth, I mean, to make sure that we could, if you were a weaker species of people,
Mm-hmm.
there would be no black people on this planet.
Right. That's true. That is true.
if
That
you
is true.
if you are the weaker species, then there would be no black people on this planet because they never would have gotten here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that we always have to remember that, and we definitely have to relay that to our children, and
Yeah.
we have to, and to us ourselves. Sometimes I think we forget, but they sacrificed a lot for us to be here.
Oh, for sure.
Hmm.
Just like
And
even our moms did for us. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, right, exactly. And my
You see what
mom,
I'm saying? The
yeah,
moms did a lot of sacrifice because I remember, man, when I was growing up, my mom will have $2 in her purse, $2 a day, and we got to go to school and get lunch money, and she would give us the $2 and say, "You guys go, make sure you have lunch for today." And she will walk to work, no money, and I'm going, man. I used to feel so sad, man, so sad.
yeah. I used to tease my mother and say to her that she had this knack that she could take a nickel, or I mean a quarter, we were rich, and make it last all week. It's like,
Oh
how do
yeah,
you do? I mean, and my mom had 3 kids, and we had some family here, but we actually came from the East Coast to here,
yeah.
and we came here as a result of her divorcing. And with that, though, that left her taking care of these 3 kids by herself. And so moms are incredible people, but then they came from incredible grandmoms, right?
That's true. That is true. That is true. That is true, man.
And I actually have researched my ancestry,
Uh-huh.
and and lately they've done some changing within, or some upgrading within the ancestry.com.
Yeah.
And so even now there's even more information that's being provided, and then other people also are searching theirs. This is February is that month, so
Yeah.
now I've found some more relatives, but I've also found some interesting information, because when we think about our family, we think that we kind of know that they moved them all over. And
Right.
I ran across something about my great grandmother, and I always thought my great grandmother was buried and was in the same place where my grandmother was. But
Mm-hmm.
I just recently found out, because her gravesite was discovered, that
Yeah.
she wasn't in the same. They moved her. They separated her from her children, and she was probably on another plantation in Tennessee, where my grandmother was in Alabama.
Wow.
So these
Wow.
are the
That
things.
is deep, man. That is deep.
Right, exactly. And she died much later than I thought, because I guess we thought she had died because she was gone. Because
Wow.
I don't remember my aunt or anyone talking about it, and they talked as if she died very early. And I guess in my great grandmother's world, she did die because they took her away.
Wow. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Hmm. Yeah. So when we think of our ancestors and what they went through, the separation from their children being at a certain age, being put
Mhm.
in the fields to be slaves. uh, it's for just to me, it's just phenomenal that we're even sitting here having this conversation,
Wow. That's
because when you look at today and how delicate people are,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
mere fact that they were able to leave, to be able to live on that ship
Mm-hmm.
and know that where they were going, not having any idea where they were going, and
Yeah.
to be able to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to ride this out and see what this looks like, because
Right.
I don't know, I might been more inclined to say, you're taking me away from my family.
Yeah.
Obviously it was brutal, so whatever's going to come on that other side is going to be just as brutal.
Mhm. I hear you, man. I hear you. That is
And so I'm
unbelievable.
gonna just jump off. I'm just gonna die right here. Just God take me right here, because I just can't do this.
Wow.
But thank it God my ancestor didn't think like I did. So,
Mhm.
and I'm here today. So it's just, I think it's just our, if that's what happened, then of course our job is to make sure that we continue on our race,
Mhm.
and we fight for what's for that's ours. So we just have to, the best, if we can just come together and fight that fight together, that would
Mhm.
be pretty darn awesome.
That would be great.
Hmm.
I think someday folks are gonna get tired of doing the same thing and not getting good results and say, you know what, maybe we should just try something else. And they're gonna be hesitant about trying it, but that's gonna be good because now they're going in a different direction. And maybe it will be more of a communal approach to, just like you say, reinvent yourself, reset, renew.
Hmm. Hmm.
That has to happen. That
Yeah,
has
we
to
have to
happen.
happen. You
You can't
have
keep
to.
doing the same thing over and over, getting the same results and you keep doing it the same way. No.
And the same way, and our topic today is about people leaving and quitting the great, what they call the great resignation, and
Mhm.
that's what's happening here.
Yeah,
Is the exact same thing. People eyes are opened,
yeah,
and they realize that when you work for someone, you're spending 8 to 12 hours a day at this place, away from your home, away from your
yeah,
children and your
yeah,
family,
yeah.
and you have to be happy. I mean,
Mhm.
I remember when I worked in corporate America, um, I remember one job I had, and it may have been, it was probably my third job, because my first job was at Sears, and that was cool because I was in school. And then I worked at this other company. They did, it was out in West LA, and they did respirators, and that was a good company too because it was my very really first company. And but in between that, I did some uh temporary type jobs, trying to
Right,
find, because at that time Apple One and all of those companies were really big, and that's how you found jobs, right? You would
right,
go
right.
to a headhunter, and then they would hook you, they would send you out on interviews, or you'd be a temp, and in order to find you a place that would fit that you would fit, right? And I
Uh-huh.
remember going to this one company. I don't even know what they did. All I do remember
Yeah.
is the woman that was the manager or supervisor or whatever she was. She was horrific.
Really?
Just horrific. And she was horrific intentionally. She knew what she
Mhm.
was doing. And it was like walking on eggshells. You were so excited because she played golf, and when she was off at some golf tournament, the office was just, you could breathe.
They
When
were
soon as
jumping.
you were just like, oh wow, this is a nice place to work. The minute she came back, oh, you were like, oh no. And I remember, and I don't think it was a temp job. I think it was actually a job, but I think I stayed there for a couple of months, and I just couldn't take it anymore. The guy that was the CEO, he was awesome. He was the nicest man, but he allowed this woman to run roughhouse over all of the employees. And I remember a tip came in. Somebody was on vacation. A tip came in. That young lady came in the morning. She got there at 8:30. And at lunchtime, she snuck down the back stairs. She didn't even take the elevator. She snuck down the back stairs and never came back
He
again.
was gone. Oh man.
So working in a place that is toxic,
Yeah.
working in a place that you're unhappy 8
Yeah.
hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
it just can't happen. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What is really behind the Great Resignation, and
Yeah.
how does it affect your career? And can the work culture, can you change the work, can, if you change and improve your work culture, can that help?
Right.
So do you have any horror stories on in your work world, your
Oh,
when you
trust
were
me,
in
I have
corporate?
a whole lot of horror stories. I have a whole lot. See, the thing that really gets to me and a lot of other folks is when you have someone acting like a leader, trying to lead you or your group or the organization, and they don't have a clue what leadership is about.
Right.
You know, they're implementing these little bogus methodologies that, you know, are not tried and true. They you know, they just feel like they should, that's how they should do it, and the organization allow them to do it just like with you. Then it creates that environment, that culture of toxicity, where, you
Hmm.
know, it's like poison. You know, it's
It is. It is.
like someone spraying poison gas in an environment, and it's stifling people. They can't breathe, you know.
Right. And that was why in HR, when HR was working for the employee and not for the employer, because
Yeah.
that's where HR is now, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things when in the early in my early career out of school was, you then, you had to do an exit interview, right? And so
Yeah.
whenever I would do an exit interview, if there was a toxic environment, then I always made sure that the HR department knew about it. This is the problem. This is
Mhm.
why people are leaving, especially if it was a company that had high turnover. And since I was in the accounting department, which is usually an extension of HR, then
Yeah.
my voice carried a little bit more so with probably than other people, because of the
Yeah.
fact that what the work that I did and who I did it for. But just yeah, it can be very bad. Now that's one of the things I think I recognize, is that we make the assumption because they're sitting in the boss's seat that they're
Yeah,
leaders.
that they're properly trained and they
Right.
understand
Yeah.
what leadership is
Mm-mm.
about, how to
Mm-mm.
help to promote, foster, and grow people, and they have no clue. And that's why you're having a lot of discontent in organizations today. A lot of them, a lot of folks are saying, hey, you know what? I can do better bad by myself than to have this person come in here like a drill sergeant telling me what to do. Don't respect me, don't respect my ideas, don't ask me for things. It's just immediately start impressing things on me. And the thing I wanted to bring uh, into view here, Crystal, is the Maslow hierarchy of needs. I don't think too many people are aware of that, and too many people understand what it is. But the Maslow hierarchy of needs is a status within people that
Right.
it tells the different types of needs that people want in order to have a happy life, in order to feel like they're a part of the community, society. So first you have self-actualization, you know, where you have a desire to become the most that you can be, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
you've got esteem, you know, you need respect, you need self-esteem, your status, you want to be a part of things because of what you bring to the table, the
Mm-hmm.
recognition from others, and the strengths and freedom to do the things that you can do. Then you've got the need of love and belonging. You know, everybody wants to belong to something. So
Mm-hmm.
friendship is very important, intimacy, family, and a sense of connection. Now, when you got those toxic boss breathing down your neck and and behaving like that, you know, they have no plan and they just come up with all these different plans every day. And you go, okay, I had a plan to do this, but now I got to stop doing that and go do something over here. You don't feel like there's a level of friendship, or you know, they're looking at you like family. And then you got
Well,
that.
but I think you also have, because again, we're making the assumption that these people, one, have people skills. That's first thing we're making an assumption.
That's it. That is
And we're
true.
making assumption that they're not looking, um and I find this a lot when people work in government kind of environments, right?
Yeah,
That there's a lot of insecurity in
yeah.
themselves, and so therefore when you feel the competition, right,
Uh-huh.
you're very competitive with your coworkers because you don't want them to overshadow you, because you
Right.
don't trust your own abilities.
Yeah.
And that's truly, when I think about, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I also knew that I didn't do well in work environments. So I
Right.
never put myself in a position to go in. Yeah, I can come in as a contractor, but because the fact that is, it's just the nature of being in a work environment, a workplace environment, that
Hmm.
if you are a natural born leader yourself,
Yeah.
right, then if two natural born leaders come together and we realize that some of us have to step back to let the other
Hmm.
one and share that space, then
Hmm.
it's much more productive, right? But if you have the one person that feels that, hey, I'm in this leadership position, so everything I say go, and everything that you do have no value because
Hmm.
I am the head chief here in
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah.
And when you have that attitude about it, and you're not respecting other people, then you have a problem. So I always had a problem in the working for someone else, because of the fact that I know that there are more, we can respect each other, we can honor each other, but we do have to respect each other's abilities, and we have to give that individual the opportunity to feel free to utilize their abilities and their expertise in order to make, one, understanding that you both have the same goal, right? And to have the same goal is the vision and the mission of the organization.
See, that's the part that's missing when you have two leaders come together, or folks with potential leadership ability and one of them assume the leadership. They
Hmm.
don't want to feel like the other person is more knowledgeable or has more power over them. So that's why they step up to the plate and start acting like that. Now,
Hmm.
natural born leaders understand how to recognize other leaders, because
Hmm.
nobody has 100% skill in every area. So that's
Right.
one of the first things natural leaders uh, identify. They identify where they're weak and other people are strong, and they work together for the betterment of the unit, not for themselves. The unit,
Right.
the unit, the community.
That's the first thing I tell, when I am teaching individuals how to become entrepreneurial, whether they're adults or whether they're kids. The first thing I say, no matter what the mission, the goal, the product or the service that you're providing, remember that you can't do this alone and that you
Right,
need people. And so, no, and in this day and age, when everything is based upon technology, which is really kind of a hands-off kind of involvement,
right,
right? And especially as we began working from home, and because now we're not engaging with each other in the hallways, we're not
right.
having lunch with each other, we're not having coffee with each other, right? We're not
Mhm.
sitting around in meetings together. You are, but there's a screen between you and me now, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now I don't have to connect with you on that level. There is no human connection anymore.
yeah.
And so with that, I always tell my entrepreneurs or people that want to be entrepreneurs, remember the people come first.
Yes.
Because if you're looking to create a business that is going to grow and that's going to scale and that has the potential to reach its highest gain, you can't do that by yourself. You
No.
have to have people. So people come first. And my other thing is, as a people, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if you don't treat people the way you want to be treated, then you're going down the line, it's going to hurt the company. It's going to
Yeah.
hurt the cause. It's going to hurt the vision and the mission of the organization. So none of that means anything unless you're going to do it by yourself. Then you don't need nobody. You
And
just
that's
do
a
it by
big
yourself.
reason. That's a big reason, Crystal, why we are seeing this big resignation and this big migration of talent right now. People are moving out of organizations. Some people got sick during COVID. Employers fire them, or
Mm-hmm.
employers tell them you better come into work or you're not going to get paid, or when you come back there won't be a job for you. So people start looking at that and they're going, wait, these people are putting profit over people. No,
Mm-hmm.
we can't have this. So a lot of people start making the conscious decision. Over 4,000 companies experience that, Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
4,000 companies, corporations experience the resignation of talent. People start moving out of there and say, guess what? See ya. I'm out of here.
Right. And
I'm
and
going to
and
go do something else.
so now we're on the other side of that, and now we have to look at, okay, what does that look like? What do I need to do that's different? And one of the things that you have to do, because there's been what, 300 and something, 400 million people that have walked off jobs, and I think in the last couple of weeks, those it's no longer your lowly employed individual. It's also your middle management now.
Mhm.
There are middle management individuals that were making really good money, and they realize that in the industry that they're in, that making good money means nothing, because
Right.
making good money means that um, it's gonna I have to, if it's profit, if in order for this company to continue to make a profit, that means that I have to give up my life to make that happen. I have to spend 24/7 here at this job in order for me to in order for me to stay here at this company. Is that worth it to me? No, that's not worth it to most people,
Nope.
especially after they've spent so much time. Um, they've spent so much time at home
Right.
and
Right.
able to balance. And I think there's also, so when you look at those companies that, and I remember this when I worked as well. When you look at those companies that feel the only way I can trust you as an employee is for you to be sitting right here in the same building with me every single day. I need to know everything that you are doing and how you're doing it so that I can micromanage that.
You know the sadness about that? They've seen over the years that that theory has been proven wrong. It's been proven wrong
Of course it has.
because so many employees become so much more productive when they're away from the toxic environment, the negative energy, working in the workplace. And then the other side to that is when they're home working, they want to prove to their employer that, hey, I'm not here goofing off. This is what I'm doing. Here's my productivity. People are listing what they're doing and justifying it. So they
Hmm.
end up doing a lot more being home than being in the workplace.
Right. You're much more productive when, because that what that's telling you is I trust you.
Yeah.
I trust you to get it done. However, you need to get it done, it's good. As long as the end result is we've increased our profits, we've acquired more customers, we're selling more product, or we're producing more product. That's the only
Yeah.
thing that we care about, right?
Right.
Because that's the extension of our business. That's what
Yeah.
we're here to do. So even
Hmm.
as coaches, we're telling our individuals that we're coaching, business owners that we're coaching, here's some processes, here's some functionalities to running a business. But don't forget, we want you to position your business so that it can hire employees. Now, what happens when you hire employees? Then there are certain things that you have to make sure that you're a good leader, you're a good manager. You almost have to be a coach and a rah-rah person as well. in order to get the most out of your employees. And the other thing I think, when we look at it, and I did a little research like yourself on what was some of the problem with that what started this, right? Why all of a sudden? So here's some of the top 5 reasons why people are quitting. One, we just talked about it: toxic culture.
Mm-hmm.
Working in a toxic culture is damaging to your mental wellness and your mental health. It could
Yes.
cause illness. It could
Yes.
cause and if employers, and there's been many studies about this, that if you are creating this toxic culture in your business, you're going to spend so much more money, and it's going to cost you so much more because you're going to have more people out sick. You're going to have
Mm-hmm.
people on disability. You're going to
Yeah.
have people getting injured. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because this environment that they're working in is not conducive to their health, and nor is it conducive to you and your company's health either.
Right.
All right. So toxic culture is a horrible thing in a business. And it didn't used to be like this 20, 30, 40 years ago. It just seemed might have some one-offs, but overall, because you had to work, people would, it was a decent place to work. But then, and you might have a few of them out there, but not 95% of the darn companies were of this same mindset, right?
Right.
The other reason people are quitting is job insecurity and reorganization.
Right.
Again, companies don't know, are not comfortable. Um, the bosses are uncomfortable, and there's a
Right.
lot of and some companies actually create that insecurity. They want you to feel like you're fighting for that one position, right? They get a
Right.
kick out of that. And they pit employees against employees. And when you pit those employees against each other, then this is what you get, right? You get a viper's den.
Right.
And you all, there's always one that is the suck butt. and they're the ones that are always sucking up to the boss, telling on everybody, right?
Yeah.
And just making the place just a horrific place to work in.
Right. Right. Right.
And then you have the boss, or maybe it is the boss or the manager, the supervisor, always threatening to fire you. And so if that's
Because that's the only leverage they have.
right,
That's the only leverage that they really have. No other real source of leverage over you. So they keep threatening you with your job, your income, and those types of things. That's it.
right. But how can you work under that?
You
Right?
can't. You
How
can't.
can you work? How can you work under somebody every week? You didn't fire me 10 times. So I'm just gonna leave. How about that? And see, that was my
Right.
opinion. No, you ain't gonna make me feel insecure. I'm going, and at my time when I was working in corporate America, there were lots of jobs, so there was no question about me leaving because that's what I was going to do. There's an error there, but the next one is the 5 predictors of the high rate of attrition in your company is feeling like there are companies, especially tech companies nowadays, are so into innovation. Just imagine what it would look like to work at Facebook right now,
Right.
because now they're on this quest for the megaverse. What is the megaverse? Does the employees know what the megaverse is,
They have
or
no
does their
clue.
boss, the only one, know what the megaverse is? So
Only
that
the
means,
bosses know.
right. So that means I'm trying to create something that I don't know what's in your head.
Yeah.
Right? What
Yeah.
does that really look like? right? If Megaverse is just some headsets and their virtual reality, okay, I get that. But no, you want us to be able to have meetings virtually. What does that mean? Aren't we doing that with Zoom? So, and then the next one is some of the reasons people are leaving today is failure to recognize the performance of your employees. You're not encouraging them. You're not celebrating. You're not empowering them to be and do their best.
Yeah.
And then you get the micromanager who feels that they got to watch your every movement, and then they got to come in and interact when they feel that that you're not doing it the way they see it in their head, right?
Yeah.
And those are, I think, in my opinion, the worst places. I think one should be encouraged and celebrated when they do good things.
Yes.
You
I agree.
have to reward them when they do good, and they, especially if they're increasing the productivity in your business. One of the things that real estate agencies do is and sales agencies, they reward, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they create a healthy a healthy selling environment and
Hmm.
competitive environment. But then when someone is rewarded, then they make sure that they see, oh, they're the top seller for the day. You get the parking space outside at the front of the desk. You get lunch on the company, but that encourages that you're recognizing that they're doing well, and I think
Right.
that's really, really important.
Right.
And then the fifth one in today's world is there was a poor response. There, a lot of people had a poor response to COVID. It was scary,
Hmm.
and isolation is hard.
Right.
And if you didn't happen to live with family or friends, then you were by yourself. And the only
Right.
outside world you had was your Zoom meeting or your
Right.
team meeting or whatever Google Meet, whichever one you were using, that was your only means to connecting with the outdoors. And so I think those are the five primarily reasons. So people think, oh, they're leaving because of money. No, because I think you can make all the money in the world, and attorneys make big money, right? They're making 6 to 7 figures a month. But when you break it down with the amount of work that they have to produce and how and it's 24/7, they probably making less than the minimum wage
Yes.
when
Yes.
you stop to think about that. So um those are the five reasons. But a workplace doesn't have to be like this,
No. No.
right?
Not at all. Not at all.
It doesn't have to be like this. So in your world, Gibbet, because you operate, you are coaching and teaching businesses how to do contractual work,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So in that, they can't they can't facilitate and execute a contract by themselves.
Right. So the thing about this is there's so many things that's wrong. This resignation, and the first thing I want to say about this big great resignation that we see occurring, the folks who migrate from the workplace and they go home, they're going, listen, man, I'd rather stay home than to deal with this toxic environment. So after doing that, they're thinking, hey, I'd rather start my own business
Mhm.
than to be working to help somebody else get rich while they're stepping on my neck and not allowing me to breathe.
Right.
So that's how you see a lot of people start becoming more and more entrepreneurs. As a matter of fact, I read a statistic here. This is a statistic that I found. I think it's in the Forbes, in the LA Times, right? And
Okay.
it's saying that 49% of people who started the new business during the 2020 COVID era are women. 49% of the
Yeah.
businesses that are started by people during that era are women. And that's an improvement from 27%, which occurred the previous year. So that tells you that these women, they go home, they have to take care of kids, they have to take care of the house, and they're going, listen, man, I'm doing all this crap for somebody else. Might as well I do something for myself. So they start their own business. And that's how we're seeing this great resignation um, providing some positive results, because these employers, they thought they had us cornered. They can tell us what to do. So there are other folks also, a lot of other groups who take that same trek are minorities. Because as you know, people who tend to become entrepreneurs, or people who are downtrodden, people who are dispossessed, people who are having a hard time, they can't get opportunities. So they have to create their own opportunities. So that's what we're seeing here. So a lot of women are entering the entrepreneurship space. A lot of minorities are entering the entrepreneurship space. So that's what we see now. They enter the entrepreneurship space, and because opportunities are so limited, they now have to start looking towards government contracts, because government contracts is always an everlasting thing. It's always there. You always need things from the government. And let's look at the county of Los Angeles as an example. County of Los Angeles has 37 different departments, Crystal. 37 different departments. That means there are so many different things that they need. They need those things. So you've got from animal care and control, you got beaches and harbor, you got the auditor, and controller department. That's a whole department by itself, doing auditing and being a controller. The board of supervisors, they have a department too, where they provide services to the public. You've got children and family care services. So there's so many, child support, community development commission. So you have all of those. So when people are starting their business and they're looking for contracts, there are contracts in those areas that these new entrepreneurs can start pursuing. So the key thing to help them to become successful in that area is what you and I have been teaching for all these years, is to make sure you get your house in order. So you're ready. You're actually contract ready or business ready. Having the key documents in place, having all of the skill and qualifications. And if certification is necessary, like a minority or woman-owned certification, or small business certification, or disadvantaged business certification, then those are things they explore and try to obtain that so that they can get these contracts. Now, you've got contracts starting as low as $5,000. And these contracts go all the way up to $75,000. You don't have to compete a lot. You may have about only 3 competitors going after those contract value for up to $75,000. And then beyond 75 up to 150, then it's a little different playing field, where they probably have to advertise these solicitations so that the women, the minorities, and other small businesses can apply for it. But being ready is the key. And being registered in their database, in those contract providers' database, is really helpful to you as well. So that's how we see people benefiting in COVID stage. The county put out RFPs. They're looking for people who know how to manufacture gloves and masks and all of those things. And you'd be surprised how many of our small businesses were able to supply them with that.
Right.
It's just amazing, Crystal. It's just amazing. So that's how
Right.
I see the big resignation benefiting us small businesses and entrepreneurs.
And I can see that with women, because women are usually have the hardest time in the work world, in the workforce.
Yes.
Mainly because childcare is big for them, right?
Yeah.
Being able to pick up their children and not feeling guilty about
Right.
having to go pick up your kids, but at the same time, they also feel that if they have to compete with the male male in the workplace, and that they're always looked upon as lesser than. So I can see why when many women start their own businesses, because there has never been a time when that has balanced out for us.
Right.
From the very beginning, women weren't allowed into the workplace. And we've been fighting ever since, right?
Yeah.
Which is why women do make incredible entrepreneurs and small and business owners, because of the fact what they had to go through.
You know, that's a good point you raised there, Crystal, that women make good entrepreneurs. But think about this. The people who make the best entrepreneurs are the people who are hungry the most.
Oh,
Who are hungry the most? You see what I'm saying? You
right.
got women, you got minorities. They're hungry the most, so they understand. They understand how when they get an opportunity, how they're not going to let it go. They're going to try to grow it. They're going to foster it. They're going to maintain it. They're going to nurture it. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
So
exactly.
hungry entrepreneurs make the best entrepreneurs.
Well, because you have yeah, right, exactly. You have something that you're fighting for, right? And it's yours, right? So
Yeah,
you take that sense of ownership. There's only a few places. There was one place that I worked. In fact, that was the last place that I worked before I became before I left and launched my own business. And that company made us all feel like we were so important, powered. My plan was to stay with them for 10 years.
yeah.
I ended up being there for 15 years because
Wow.
the work culture was fantastic. Uh, it was kind of, you had your, it was a sales type of environment. We were in, it was a financial planning firm, and so you had your staff, and then you had the top salespeople, and then we always worked with a top salesperson, and
Yeah,
so it was, and theirs was, because you're in the insurance industry, so you're almost, everybody's like independent, right?
yeah.
But that your boss, if you had a great boss, they would open up opportunities. So the person I work for encouraged me to get my insurance licenses and my annuity license and Series 7, so that I too could participate in the commissions that I could make alongside of my salary. And
Mm-hmm.
they encourage that, and they encourage bonuses, and treating you like you were valuable to their company, right? It was
Exactly.
hard to leave them. It
Right,
just that I knew the pathway I was going.
right,
um and to this day, I have friends that are still working at that company. They've been there over
right,
30
right.
years.
Yeah.
And so that's why, because when you treat your company, your employees, with reverence, then they will produce whatever you need,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if
Mm-hmm.
they don't, then they're going to feel like they have to leave and go somewhere else. And in this case, the way the work world is today, it's like it doesn't matter where you are,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone has the same attitude, right? They
Right,
don't treat you with any respect. They don't treat you, they don't, all of those problems that we saw right here is what happens. So
right.
now we need to look at, and this is where we have to go. And this is even for our small businesses that we're coaching. You want to create a positive work environment. And when you do that, it really helps with the business overall, because now
Mm-hmm.
everybody's on the same page. So 5 benefits that benefit you, the employer,
Yeah.
is um it, having a positive work environment and work culture. It is
Mm-hmm.
less stress, and more likely the employees won't become burnout.
Right, right, right.
Right? Burnout, it depending on what type of industry you're in, burnout employees are detrimental to your business,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
those burnout employees can get hurt, and
Mm-hmm.
they will get hurt more often than not.
They may not be focused on the task at hand.
No, they may not. They more likely they won't. They're tired, and
Right.
especially if you are a taskmaster,
Right.
because that's the problem. You're working for a taskmaster.
Right.
Um, Positive work environments increase product and productivity, and
Mm-hmm.
as a result of that, what does it produce? More money,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. Right.
So I think you would want. I've never understood, why do you not want the best out of your employees?
I see the folks who don't see it and understand it that way, they're just not leaders. They're just not leaders, because leaders are supposed to know how to get the most out of their people, try to pull together the best amalgamation of talent to make those talents work for them, and so they can be successful. So if they can't do those things, they don't understand to do that, those are not good leaders, man. They're not.
Right, and because that's the whole. What are you in business for?
Right.
Right, is to make money, right? And
Yes.
I always ask this question, and you've heard me ask this question, especially in a world that puts profit over people. How
Yes.
do you think you got to those profits?
Mm-hmm.
Because one individual cannot create a
Can't do it by yourself. Can't do
you
it by
cannot
yourself.
create a multi-million-dollar company as
Mm-hmm.
a one.
Right.
It takes a team
Right.
to be able to create a now you can create a mom and pop business,
Right.
but a multi-million-dollar company requires a staff,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so, and you want that staff. If you're one of the biggest, from an accounting standpoint, when I talk, last week I did the class, the cash flow class for you for the navigator program, right? One of
Mm-hmm.
the biggest cost gobblers, or expense gobblers in your business, is high turnover in your company,
Right.
because it costs you money for your employees, for you to hire one, to seek out good talent. You
Mm-hmm.
generally have to use some sort of um a job placement kind of company, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's costing you. Then
Mm-hmm.
once you get them in there, you're not going to be producing at the level you would if they were already there. So that costs you. Then
Mm-hmm.
it costs you the training,
Right.
right? And them becoming acclimated to how the company works. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes are costly.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Mm-hmm.
you have a high turnover, then
Yeah.
you're putting out a lot of money on the training and the retention of those customers,
I agree.
of those employees,
I
as
agree.
opposed to having staff retention, where the
Mm-hmm.
people are there, they love what they do, they jump in there with 2-3 feet, and they get the job done, and you don't have to go and teach them how to do it, because you've already trained them how to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's important. Better well-being, both for the company and for the people. And you said this earlier, businesses that feel like family are
Mm-hmm.
much more productive than businesses that
Oh
are not.
yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. And even in some of those, and that's a part of the reason why most organizations, when they when they wear the same uniform and they're coordinated, you get a lot more productivity out of folks, because there's a sense of belonging,
Yeah.
there's a sense of unity, community, family. That's the whole thing.
Whole thing. My girlfriend is in HR, and she's been in HR majority of her career, and
Yeah.
she's worked in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
And so she worked for Continental before they merged with United, and she was there for about 10 to 15 years before Continental moved their hub to Houston, Texas, and she didn't want to go there.
Right.
But one of the things that she did, every month they had a company appreciation or employee appreciation day. They brought in all of their employees, no matter whether they were out on the tarmac or where they were in making the food, whatever it was, they brought them all in, and they gave them a big celebration once a month.
That's amazing.
They
That's
bought
that boosts morale right there. That
that
boosts.
improves the more they would go out, and she would be going. I was like, "Where you going? Where are you?" She goes, "Girl, I'm out here getting it. This the gifts for the uh, employee appreciation day." That was part of what she did, and so she would get different little things. But and then they play games, and they would cook a meal specifically. They would serve them lunch, play games with them, and then once a year, this was huge. As long as she worked there, I knew that this was this took place. They would
Right.
do a big raffle, and the employee that was the most productive, that didn't take time off, that didn't get injured, no workers' comp claims, that
Right.
employee received a Ford Explorer.
See,
This went
and
on for years.
that's incentive to the other group members. You see what I
Right,
mean?
because you're working toward that. It was an awesome place. So she tells me in her company she's working in now, she just started there about a year ago. So she's doing the same thing. She's
Yeah.
incorporating that morale. And so they're like, "Oh my God, you're absolutely wonderful. The company is wonderful. Everybody's happy to be there." So improving the morale in your company by whatever means, but making people feel that they're valuable, making sure it's the same thing when we're coaching, right?
Right.
I get more from my clients if I'm encouraging. Now, every now and then I do have to be a little hard. I have to play like
Good cop,
in
bad cop.
good cop, bad cop, to get them to do what they want to do, not what you want to do, but what they want to do. You kind of have to push them a little bit in order to get that. But at the same time, you stroke when they're doing well. You celebrate their high performance, and then you don't berate them when they make a mistake. You show
Mhm.
them how they could have done it differently, and maybe give them opportunity to do something differently. So it really, it's time for us to, I think George Frazier spoke today on at the Edison Black History Month, and one of the things that George says is that, or he said today, was that in this world that we live in, having people that have emotional intelligence, that's where we
Mhm.
are now, is
Yeah.
where is your EI. You got to
Hmm.
have emotional intelligence. We are
Yeah.
just, even though we live in a computerized world,
Hmm.
we need to come back and be attached to human beings, and know that we have to speak to them like human beings. We have to treat them like human beings. And when you encourage and you help people, and you encourage their well-being, and you want their well-being, then they will want your well-being as well. So
Mm-mm-mm.
it's really, really important. So how do you create a positive work environment? You create, and Gilbert, you will, this is a pet peeve. You create a great onboarding experience. You
Oh
make
yeah.
sure when the person comes into your work environment, it's a good experience. You've given them all the information about the company. You've been very, very clear on what duties you're expecting of them. um you give them some autonomy. You make it where that they don't have, if they, and you give it an open door policy, so that if you have
Hmm.
questions, you can feel there's no stupid questions, there's just a question.
Right. You know what's amazing? There are some managers who, instead of learning how to onboard properly, they will go through these motions where the person coming in, they have that person call someone who they're supposed to be working with, or sharing some of the responsibility with that person, call them to say, well, I'm going to be the new kid on the block. I'm going to be doing a lot of your work. So I'd like you to walk me through what is it you do and how you're going to train me to do what I do. That's right there. That's immediately building resentment
It
for
is.
you, for the person coming in, because the person who's been working there is going, wait a second, this new person coming in, taking over some of my tasks and telling me I need to train them how to do this stuff and walk them through a process? Heck no, I'm not going to do that. So now you're starting off your onboarding process in a negative way. So now
Yes.
that person start thinking, hey, I can't believe they want me to train this person. So they can start forming their little coalition against this
Right.
new person coming in. And
Right.
then that right there can be devastating to morale. It could be devastating, and it could be the kiss of death for this new person coming in.
Right. And it also can be the kiss of death for the business as well.
Yeah.
Because depending on the type of business that you're in, it really could create a deficit in your revenue. And as for me, that is wait, what are we doing? The business is about the business.
It's about
Also,
business.
understanding you have to have values in addition to your mission and your vision statement. You have to have company values.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to establish those company values, and from the head down, everyone has to respect those values and
Right.
work. And that's how our company works under the company values. You want to make sure you're not creating competitive environments within your own company. So encouraging connections, focusing on the well-being of your employees. This is huge. This is the other problem that's in the work world today is talking a good game about diversity and inclusion, but
But
not
not
really.
actually doing anything
Right, but actually not having any policies or procedures that implement
right.
diversion and inclusion, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big issue today. um get the physical workplace right, making sure that you're recognizing if you have individuals in your workplace that have some physical handicap or handy challenges,
Yeah.
physical challenges, that you make sure that your company is in compliant and work safe, making sure you're doing whatever Cal OSHA, because that's the gods of the California business world, Cal OSHA.
That's the Bible right there. That's the Bible.
Being open with your I think for me, I hate secrets and
Mm-hmm.
I hate to be caught in middle of stuff. So
Yes.
for me, in order to not have that, is if a company is open and they're clear and they don't do all this behind the doors and behind the closed doors situation, then
Yeah.
it becomes a problem for everyone else
Oh yeah.
in the workplace. Making sure that you have create open lines of communication. You can come in and talk to your boss about anything.
And companies should be transparent. They should be transparent with their workers and employees, because when people see that, then they feel like, hey, I can trust. I can start trusting management because they're upfront with me. They're transparent with me.
Right.
But once people start doing shady things, like having meetings and not including you,
Yeah, these things right here, these are things that create major problems in companies, and it
yeah,
really hurts the company in the long run. Yeah, you can get rid of the person, but now you how many times you're going to do that before you get it right, right?
right,
Because if you don't change the internal problem, then it doesn't matter who the body is. It's the same situation is going to be there the next time as well. So making sure that there's open lines of communication and establishing an open door policy that an employee can come in and talk to the employer long as it's in the best interest of the company. And I will guarantee you, if you set up a positive work environment, you will see the productivity in your company increase probably close to 100-fold.
And one other point I want to put out there, Crystal, is that employers and managers, they need to really understand the talent that exists within their company among their workers. Because there's certain workers that may have certain talents that you don't even know about that could help that business to become even more successful in a quicker way. So
Right.
you need to find out. Now, many of them don't know. They probably don't know how to assess or to determine what those skills are. And if you don't know, then you reach out to consultants or training entities and let those folks do that. But you'd be surprised at what you learn about some of the things. Even you, Crystal, you've got some talents that a lot of people don't even know about, and you've been working with them for years.
True.
You know, your family members, your friends, your associates, your clients, a lot of them may not know. And that is why it is so critical to have a capability statement or a marketing sheet like that. Because when they start reading your skills, your core competencies, and all of those things on that, they go, oh, damn, you do that? Really? It's like they can't believe it, but they know you for 20 years and they don't even know that you did those things. You see what I'm saying?
Greg just came on and said, "Who knew she was a farmer?"
Exactly. Exactly. You and I are co-hosts. I didn't even know you were a farmer until you tell me.
Hey, Michael.
Until you tell me. Michael
Yeah,
Browning said he loves this program. Thank you,
right.
Michael.
Yeah. Who knew I was a farmer? That's like I was talking. I was on a podcast the other day. I didn't say it on the podcast, but after podcast, we were talking, and the person was saying, "So what are some of your other interests?" And I said, "Oh, I think we were talking about exercise and diet and all that kind of stuff." I said, "Well, before the pandemic, I did Zumba. I love to dance, so I do Zumba. I did Zumba a couple times a week, and I go bike riding. I play tennis, and then I said, and then I even took a burlesque class." He went, "What?"
That's exactly it. That's my point right there. Hey, Greg, did you know that Crystal was a burlesque dancer? Did you know that? And I'm not talking about basic burlesque where you do it in a back room. I'm talking about doing burlesque at the Staples Center for the LA Clippers. Greg said we need proof.
I have proof, Greg.
My co-host Crystal is a burlesque dancer. You should have seen her.
So I wear many hats: I'm tennis player, skier, ski racer, burlesque dancer.
So that's what I'm saying, man. Many of the times organizations don't know what talents some of their workers may have. And
Right.
they, every now and again they got to do that kind of assessment. Say boom, boom,
Ba, ba,
boom,
ba, zoom.
baras. He's cussing in Jamaican.
Yeah, you never know, because
Yeah,
usually you hire them for one thing,
yeah,
and so that's what you use them for. But
right.
if you had some other, it's almost like, because an employee wouldn't have a capability, but you can do an assessment, and
Right.
again, if you have that open policy, then you
Yeah,
can find out what people are good at, because there's things that we all do at home
yeah,
that we don't do in the office, because it's
yeah,
what we do. It's our hobbies, our interests, that kind of
right.
stuff. But again, if you were getting to know people, then
Yeah.
you would know that, right? But
Oh, yeah.
if you don't get to know each other, then you don't know that. But yeah,
That's right.
yeah. So we have some. Everybody has some extra skill. I mean,
Well,
heck, no, how many
just
of
like
your people know that you were a recording artist in
see,
Jamaica?
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Greg, did you know that I'm a reggae singer? Did you know that? So that is true. I was talking to one of my clients today, and I was advising her on her ideas, and she had some creative ideas. And I said, well, when I was a singer and I was doing reggae music, one of the most important thing to me was to get my publishing right. And she said, "You were a singer? I can't see you as a singer."
Well,
So that just cracks me up.
well, the same thing with you and I.
Yeah.
When we first started this show 6 years ago, we're sitting there signing. Now, I just asked Gilbert, guys, so let me just kind of set it up for you. So I was looking for a co-host, because I wanted to. I feed better off of people. So I asked him, we've been doing some work together. He's like, sure. So he didn't divulge any more than sure. That sounds great. So when we're in the studio and we're signing the contract, while he's signing, he goes, oh, did I tell you I have a communications degree? No, you failed it. Did I tell you I was a reggae? No, you failed. Did I tell you I had a radio show? No, you failed to mention any of that as we were getting to know each other. So you never know. The book doesn't always justify what's in the cover. Doesn't say what's in the book.
That's true. That is so true.
Get to know your employees.
Yeah.
Get to know who they are, what they love, what they like, and then that builds a better relationship, a connection with you and them. And now, and have that open door policy so that you guys are both on the same page. And as you're building your business, they're right there along with you, helping you build their business, as opposed to you having to drag them and threaten them with losing their jobs on a regular basis, because that's not going to get the best out of them. As my mom used to say, you can do better with honey than you can do with vinegar.
That's true. That is so true, man. That is so true. And I'm learning that from you, Crystal. I'm learning that part because I was a vinegar guy. I would solve things with vinegar a lot, and I'm realizing that. Listen, man, the honey, adding the honey to it, or maybe just honey, might give you an advantage and give you some leverage. And especially after my bout with COVID, and I come back, I've been a much mellower person now. I've been honeying it all the way, man. Everything I do is, I just try to take it easy and not get too riled up. So
and so imagine the people that have walked off their jobs, that have had COVID, or the fear of COVID, or have lost a loved one to COVID. So it has changed a lot of people's minds and hearts and what's important to them, right? I have never heard you say, oh, hey, I need to go out and take a walk. Out of the 6 years I've known you, I've never heard you say that. Now you're like, hey, maybe I need to exercise, right?
Yeah. Now I'm talking a lot about that.
So that makes a difference and makes a change, which is why that's why I have that other side of my life that everybody, my farming life, because that's how I stay peaceful.
Therapy. That's therapy.
That's my therapy for me. My dancing and bike riding and skiing and hiking and all the things that I do. These are things because you have to walk away from work sometimes so that you can see it from a different perspective and so that you can maintain the love for it. But if you're doing it 24/7, you're not going to hold the love for it because it takes up and consumes. And you turn around and you look at your life and you go, wow, I haven't lived. And look at the people during 2020 and 2021 that have died from COVID that had not lived.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Greg, what is your therapy? Tell us what your therapy is, Greg. And Michael, if you're still listening, tell us what your therapy is, okay?
So Greg's got a good therapy, actually. So before Greg, tell him, before Greg was, he does insurance, tequila is his therapy. Well, tequila. Greg makes this incredible furniture. He actually he refinishes furniture. It's absolutely beautiful.
I did not know he did that. J. Ray. in Jamaica, they have this rum called J. Ray and made by J. Ray and Nephew. It's a brand.
Oh, okay.
That's what he's talking about, a white rum.
Greg actually refurnishes furniture.
I need someone to do that for me.
He does a beautiful job.
Really?
Greg was into yachts and sailboats.
Oh man. I didn't even know those things.
He actually sold them. He also is on the phrase of the entertainment industry.
Oh man.
Yeah, Greg is quite talented.
What? Let's say Gagan.
Yeah, Greg is he's the man. He also he said he was a boat captain.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, you sure you're not Jamaican, man? You got too many jobs, man. Too many jobs.
Yeah, so he has a world outside of his insurance.
Oh man.
And
Yeah.
he was an accountant.
Wow. Wow. Man, I've been looking for someone to refinish some end tables for me, and I can't find anyone. And now to hear that this man does that,
Oh yeah, you have
man,
to go over to his Facebook page and see all the
yeah,
beautiful work
I'm
that
gonna
he's
have
done, and
to.
then reach out to him because he does a great job. So everyone should have something that really brings them a lot of joy and a lot of pleasure.
Yes,
And so
yes,
whatever that is, and it can't be work. I love working. I
yeah,
love what I do for a
yeah,
living, but I have to Friday at 6 o'clock. I'm done.
yeah,
I don't do work unless it's around the kids. I do the teaching for the kids for entrepreneurship. I rarely have appointments on the weekend. I don't even answer the phone anymore. If it's happening after 5 o'clock
yeah.
on Friday, I have no conversation for people until Monday.
5 o'clock. That's it. Gotta go. Can't
Yeah.
can't do any more work unless it's a check coming in and you got to do an invoice for
Right
it.
now, if it's something once in every a blue moon, but it's not a consistent thing that I do all the time. I have to have a break in
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah,
that's
but I
it.
think I think this helps the Great Resignation, man. It helps a lot because we needed a shake up in the industry, in the work world, because for too long now, employers have been stepping on our necks and telling us how to do what we do. I know quite a few people who lost their jobs because of COVID. They lost their job because
Yeah,
they had COVID. When I came
and
out of the hospital with COVID, one of my contracts got terminated because of COVID.
yeah, yeah, it's just not. It's you're ill now. The state of California, if you're an employee of someone, oh, they
Yeah,
ain't playing with that. In fact,
yeah,
my girlfriend told me yesterday that her company, the payroll company that they use, is not the best payroll company. So the state of California indicated that you could not, if the person didn't have a time, then the Cal OSHA stepped in,
yeah.
and there was a provision for that. So now they have to go back and reimburse the employees because they use their personal time or they use their vacation time or their sick
Mm,
time and they were sick with COVID or they were taking care of a sick loved one with COVID. So the state of
wow,
California don't play when it comes
that's
uh,
good to know.
to
That's good to
employ
know.
to the employer employee relationship and what happened during COVID. The state of California is pro employee
Yeah,
and not pro employer.
yeah,
So
which
there are a
which
lot of
is good.
things there, but a lot of people don't know that. But she was just
Yeah.
telling me that yesterday. So now they got to go back. They did it, I think, in 2020. There was no problem, but this was something that took. Oh, and it actually came back in 2022, and so they got to go back and reimburse their employees for
Mhm.
January. And if they don't, then there's a hefty penalty.
Wow,
Hmm.
that's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are the things. So guys, that's the big resignation. And there are ways to come back, but we have to go back to old school and we have to recognize that the people that are working for you, if you're successful, you're not successful on your own. You're successful because there were some employees in your company that was helping you get there. So
Mhm.
multi-million dollar companies did not get there
Yeah,
without employees,
right,
as well as multi-million dollar retail companies don't get there without their customers.
right.
Right.
And
So
and and a big part of this, what they're saying here in this article, they're saying as of December 2020, the resignation rate has been 12% higher than the previous year. 12% in
right.
2020. And that's when people were, man, I don't even know if I'm gonna live to see the next 3 months. That's when the COVID was rampant, and we were getting no love out there. The governor tells us to stay home. Creditors and bill collectors were calling us, and we going, man, I don't even have a job and you're calling me trying to collect bill. Listen, please,
Yeah, it's
don't
like too
bother
much.
me.
You just start all of a sudden you start feeling like you've been pressed in the middle and
Yeah,
there is no breathing room left for you. And
yeah,
so at that point, what do people do? They just like forget it. I'm done. I'm done.
exactly.
I'll just do nothing because I don't know what else to do.
Because
And
there's
so
nothing to do. You know, what can you do?
but that's because we've become a society of profit over people.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah,
we have to it's a regroup time. So we pivoted for those of us that are entrepreneurs. Pivoted for the pandemic. Now there's another pivot in place on what are you going to do? Because if you're going to continue to run successful businesses, you need people. That's what I know.
right, right,
and since you're not importing them from another country,
right,
you got to deal with the ones that are right here.
right.
So
Oh
that's
yeah.
our so anything happening next week?
Well,
How
next
was the
week.
Super Bowl for you?
Oh, the
What'd you
Super
do?
Bowl, it was good. I stayed home. I cook a nice meal, stayed home, watch it on my big TV. I was excited. I was happy that the Rams won, man. I was happy,
Okay,
very happy,
that's
very
cool.
happy.
I was at
And
the nail
here's
shop,
another here's a reason
but
why. Here's one of the reasons. Not because they're an LA team, but they just acquired that brand new stadium, and it
mm,
just so happened that they were selected to host the Super Bowl at the same time. So I wanted them to win in this new stadium after
okay.
being given the opportunity to host. So there were a lot riding on that.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. We had Greg Doolin on the community briefing yesterday.
Oh, okay. How did
And
it go?
so it went well because Greg actually was interviewed by Good Morning America.
Oh,
Greg
wow.
was the soul food restaurant that was contracted to do um what do they call it, tailgate party, and there was over 10,000
Oh,
people there.
oh, wow.
And then after that, he was contracted to feed all the volunteers.
Oh, that is amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I like that. That
Yeah.
see that right there is a good story. I like
Yeah, that
that.
was an excellent. I have to send you over the link. It was great. He also, they asked him to wrap his trucks with
Yeah.
the NFL and for the SoFi,
Oh,
so he got to do that. What else did he got a lot of as being he won the opportunity. Oh, he even they even received 3 tickets to go to the Super Bowl game, but he had to work.
yeah.
He opened up a new location in Inglewood as a result of this. So he has another
Oh,
location
that's
now in
amazing.
Inglewood on Market
That's
Street.
amazing.
And then he's redoing his location on Crenshaw. And so it's going to be beautiful. He was showing us the construction yesterday.
Yeah.
So, Greg Doolin is that guy. He takes restauranteering to a whole nother level.
Well, his business is a legacy business because they've been around for over 40 years.
Uh-huh.
And legacy businesses are usually anything 10, 15 years and beyond. So his business is definitely a family owned legacy business, and he's been doing great. He's been excelling. He has been getting contracts with a variety of high power corporations. So
Hmm.
that's, to me, that's a success story for a small business right there.
Yeah.
Seeing a
Oh,
small, oh, Greg said 47 years.
47 years. So
So
he's been in
47
business.
years he's been in business. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a legacy business.
Oh, it was we had an excellent time with him, and he's so humble about what he's done. But the one thing that everybody and I marvel at as well is get that Greg has an incredible marketing strategy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean posting on social media. He does a lot of volunteer. He feeds a lot of organizations that in turn provides businesses for him. But he's very involved in the community as well as in his business. But he has some great ideas. He doesn't. He thinks out of the box when it comes to his restaurant.
That brings me back to our point on the show last week when we were talking about the NFL, the billions and the dollars that they make, and also how they go about marketing themselves strategically. And then we were talking about those pimps also, who they would wait until certain events come to town and then they market, they
Right.
ride off of that, right?
Opportunity. Recognizing opportunity.
Exactly. Well, with Greg, he markets a little differently, but it was very strategic and it's effective. So that is Greg
Greg
is
said if Greg, you're hilarious. Greg says if people looked at life insurance the way they look at food, oh boy. well,
that is an
Greg,
interesting perspective.
they might have done that in 2020. But yeah, they he recognizes opportunities and
Yeah,
he is ready for that opportunity. So
right.
it's not just he recognizes it, he's ready to activate in that opportunity. And he also knows spending money will beget you more money, right? And so he is not afraid to take calculated risks when it comes to his marketing campaigns. If it's going to bring him, one of the things he said was that he makes sure he just doesn't market in the state of California. He
Mm-hmm.
makes sure that his marketing reaches across the country. And he
Mm.
actually puts and creates marketing opportunities in other states, knowing that those people will eventually come to California
That's
on
it.
vacation.
That's
And
it.
so when they come, they're looking for Doolins, right?
And that's why when we were saying last week that you need to know where the events and the activities are and jump on the bandwagon and tailgate to so to speak, so you can get some of that business opportunity as well. He's doing similar to that, but a little bit more uniquely,
Yeah,
where
uniquely.
he's bringing in the dough, is profiting from that. And
And I don't
like
know any other business.
exactly.
I don't know
So
any other business that does it the way he does. Restaurant
exactly.
business that
So
does it
this
the way
is
he
the
does it.
one business that we were saying, hey, small businesses, you need to do this type of thing. And he's the
Emulate.
one business who's been doing that. So
Right.
kudos to him. Kudos.
Kudos to him. And he said his father had created when you go to Doolin's, you get a lot of food, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so that was his dad's marketing strategy. He says,
yeah.
because they will always go, if I give them a lot of food,
They'll
they're gonna
come back.
go away and they're gonna tell everybody,
Yeah,
and everybody's gonna come in to buy the food.
yeah,
He said, so
yeah,
that's their premium, is
yeah,
to get extra, and then because you can eat on it a couple of days, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so he said that was actually a marketing strategy. That
yeah.
wasn't just something that they did, and it's
Right.
still a marketing strategy.
I can't wait to see the new building that he's building there.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. And I have to go over to in Market Street and have some dinner or lunch. And they're actually selling, he says this is the first time they're selling beer and wine over at the Market Street one now.
Oh,
And
very
I guess
good.
because he's going
So
to be over there by the football stadium.
he got his liquor license, huh?
He's got his liquor license. Yeah. So
Very
kudos
good.
to Greg Doolin and Doolin's on
Very
Crenshaw
good.
and the Soul Food Kitchen. That
Very good.
family is doing some things, and I just love how he embraces marketing, because what is the biggest issue that we always say that
Yeah.
businesses have? They
Marketing.
do not
Yeah.
market their businesses. So.
Well, I would love to see a lot more of our small businesses take the bull by the horn like that, and try some creative methods to get their name out there. See, I've been marketing a little unique too. When I go to places like Starbucks and places like that, and they say, "Oh, what's your name, sir?" I just put Small Biz Pro. So they put Small
Okay.
Biz Pro on my little Starbucks thing, so that when they're calling you and they're calling your name, hey, Small Biz Pro, Small Biz Pro. People around
That's a good
going,
idea.
who's Small Biz Pro? Who is that?
Right.
So they all start looking,
Well, we need. Oh, it's Manchester and La Brea. Okay, cool. I might go over there after I leave the show because I need to
All
get
right.
food for
Sounds
tonight.
like a plan, man. Sounds like a
Gilbert,
plan.
I think your next step is you need to get some tech person to write up and do a write up on Small Biz
Small
Pro.
Biz Pro. I agree. I was
Mhm.
thinking of tapping into what's her name, Vernita. She was on her show, Smith, Vernita from
Oh yeah,
from
yeah, yeah, yes,
from
yes, yes,
TEDx. From
yes,
TEDx.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Vanita, yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking of her, for that because she's in that space.
yeah. I would do that because
Yeah.
I think that's your next step. And now that
Yes.
you have it in several organizations, and
Yes.
there are people that are using it. There was someone yesterday that I was talking to, coaching, and she was highly praising Small Biz Pro.
Oh wow, that's good to
Mhm.
know. That's good to hear.
Yeah,
I, I want to get
and
um
Rhonda highly praises Small Biz Pro.
yes, I know she loves it. I know she
Hmm.
loves it. So I want to get Zari in and go do a video campaign and get some testimonials
Oh
on
yeah,
this.
that'd be cool. Yeah, he
Yeah.
needs to talk to you anyway. He was looking
Yes.
for you when you were sick,
When I
when you
was
had
sick.
COVID. He was
Yes.
looking for you. So reach out to him.
Well,
Besides that,
folks,
you need to get into the studio and do some fun
I
stuff
know. I
like
need
Greg
to
and
do
I are
some
doing.
therapy. I need to
Yeah,
do
you
some
do some
therapy in the
there.
studio.
Well,
Well,
guys, this
folks,
is
you've been watching a great show today. We've been talking about the great resignation of people moving from employers to entrepreneurship or to creating their own independent consulting business because of what's been going on in the marketplace. And Crystal gave you some pointers. I hope you guys reach out to her, and she can probably send you, a spreadsheet or a PDF on this, right, Crystal?
yes.
So reach out, guys. You want to put your contact info in the chat, Crystal, so they can know
I
how to reach
certainly
out to
can.
you.
Yeah, we have to move past and we have to do business differently. In some cases, not even differently. We need to go back old school
Yeah,
and do business the way we used to do it, where we cared about people
yeah,
and we made connections and we weren't so caught up. It's great to have technology. That's
yeah,
awesome, but it
yeah.
does not replace the human people. And I
That's
know
right.
we kept talking about, oh, one day we won't need these, we won't need this. Well, here's that one day you guys are saying we won't be using people eventually. Okay, well, if that was the case, where are your technology so that you don't have to
Yeah,
worry about the people? Because what I'm hearing is that everybody is saying we're having problems finding good employees. But
yeah,
before, you didn't care about the employees because you only cared about the fact that you could use somebody that was non-human in order to do it. So just know, people, we can't run businesses without other humans. Place
right.
value on the service instead of the price.
That's
Thank you,
exactly
Mr.
what it should be.
Gregory Speed.
That's exactly what it should be, man. And just remember, we're out there, guys. You can reach us on YouTube. Go to YouTube. We're there live every Friday from 3 to 4:30. While you're there, make sure you click the subscribe button. The subscription is not for you to pay any money. It's a free subscription. So when you click the subscription button, it includes you in whatever items that we're promoting, we're sharing with you. So if there are documents that we're providing small businesses, you will get a copy of that. If there are videos that we're passing out with any events or upcoming events, you can have that as well. So
Right. So
please
you
go
want to
there. Yeah, go ahead, Crystal.
go over to our YouTube channel. I don't know why it's not showing. Go over to our YouTube channel, and there you go. It's a little slow today. Subscribe on our YouTube channel at the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert to help us continue to grow our plan. Greg says, enjoy your ginger beer, Gilbert.
I will, Greg. I will enjoy my ginger beer.
All right, everyone. Have a great week. Be safe. We are still in COVID world. We have not exited COVID world. So even
That's
though
right.
that they lifted the mask mandate for outdoors, be sure to protect yourself. It's not a matter of what the CDC does. It's about you protecting
What
yourself
you
and
do.
your family and the
Yeah.
people that are around you, because it is no joke when someone gets COVID and they happen to have an underlying condition and they find themselves in serious health conditions. Greg, happy Friday to you. We had a
Happy
great
Friday,
time,
Greg.
and we will see you guys next week.
Definitely. So tune into the same station, Strong Station, every Friday from 3 to 4:30. See ya.
See ya.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.